Number 1. In 1950, Niels Bohr proposed the model of the atom that is shown above. Which of the following is true about Bohr's model of the atom? A. The electrons are located throughout the positively charged material. B. The electrons travel in definite paths around a positively charged nucleus. C. There are regions around the nucleus where the electrons are likely to be found. Or D. The center of the atom is positively charged and electrons travel around it in no exact arrangement. Number 2. In the model of the atom above, the black circles represent neutrons. What is the atomic number of this atom? Number 3. The table shows the properties of several elements. Which 3 elements are most likely in the same group of the periodic table? A. Chromium, lithium, and gold. B. Chromium, gold, and potassium. C. Lithium, sodium, and chromium. Or D. Lithium, potassium, and sodium. Number 4. The diagram above shows a segment of the periodic table. Which pair of elements would most likely have a similar arrangement of outer electrons and have similar chemical behaviors? A. Boron and aluminum. B. Helium and chlorine. C. Carbon and nitrogen. Or D. Chlorine and oxygen. Number 5. The compound sodium phosphate consists of 3 elements, sodium, phosphorus, and oxygen. The formula for this compound is written as Na3PO4. How many atoms are present in 2Na3PO4? Number 6. A chemical equation is an example of a mathematical model that describes what happens during a chemical change. To describe what happens accurately, a chemical equation must be balanced. Which of the following equations is correctly balanced? Number 7. What is the reason for balancing a chemical equation? A. To show new products that are formed. B. To show that the law of conservation of mass is obeyed. C. To show that the law of conservation of energy is obeyed. Or D. To show that the atoms are rearranged during a chemical reaction. Number 8. Hector had 2 beakers that each contained colorless solution. He then poured both solutions into a larger beaker. Hector observed that a yellow solid formed when the solutions were mixed. He filtered the solution to trap the solid on the paper. After allowing the solid to dry, Hector determined its mass. When writing up his lab report, Hector concluded that he had observed a chemical reaction. What was the reason that he made such a conclusion? A. The solutions were colorless. B. A yellow solid formed when the solutions were mixed. C. The solution could be filtered to isolate the yellow solid. Or D. The yellow solid could be dried so that its mass could be measured. Number 9. The periodic table lists 3 elements that are labeled as A, B, and C. Elements B and C have similar properties that are different from properties of element A. What is the reason for this difference? A. Chemicals B and C are in the same group. B. Elements B and C are in the same period. C. Elements B and C are on the right side of the periodic table. Or D. Elements B and C are separated by the zigzag line that runs through the table. Number 10. What is the mass number of an atom that has 13 protons, 13 electrons, and 14 neutrons? Number 11. The elements in group 1 of the periodic table are classified as metals. These elements are known specifically as the alkali metals. What do these elements have in common? A. The same atomic mass. B. The same chemical properties. C. The same number of electrons. D. The same charge in the nucleus. Number 12. Chemical formulas are used to identify substances. In addition, a chemical formula indicates the number of atoms of each element in a compound. Which of the following compounds contains the most oxygen atoms? Number 13. Aluminum metal reacts with a solution of arsenic acid to produce hydrogen gas and aluminum arsenate. What happens in this reaction that can be used as evidence to indicate a chemical reaction has occurred? A metal is used. B, an acid is used. C, a gas is produced, or D, a physical property is changed? Number 14. An atom with 8 valence electrons in an energy level, except the first is stable and does not react. Which of the following atoms does not display chemical reactivity? Let me read that again. An atom with 8 valence electrons in any energy level except the first is stable and does not react. Number 15. When two forces acting on a moving object are unbalanced, what will happen to this object? A, only its speed can change. B, only its direction can change. C, both its speed and direction can change. Or D, neither its speed nor its direction can change. Number 16, the diagram shows the speed of a toy car. The toy car takes 2 seconds to travel from 1 centimeter line to the 4 centimeter line. What is the average speed of this toy car as it moves through the distance that is shown on this diagram? Number 17. The graph shows the distance Kyle traveled on his bicycle and the amount of time it took him to travel that distance, during which 5-minute interval did Kyle achieve the greatest speed. Number 18. What is the net force and the direction in which the object will move? 4 newtons upward, B, 8 newtons to the left, C, 4 newtons downward, or D, 8 newtons to the right. Number 19. Which of the following statements correctly describes the force that propels the space shuttle upward during takeoff? A, the shuttle pushes downward with more force than the gases push upward. B, the shuttle pushes upward with more force than the gases pushes downward. C, the gases push the shuttle downward with a force equal to the shuttle pushing the gases downward. Or D, the gases push the shuttle upward with a force equal to the shuttle pushing the gases downward. Number 20, the arrows in the diagram above indicate which direction a force is being applied to an object. The size of the arrow indicates the magnitude of the force. What will happen to this object as a result of the forces being applied? A, the object will move. B, the object will move forward to the left. C, the object will move toward the right. Let me read B again. The object will move toward the left. C, the object will move toward the right. D, the object will move toward the left and upward. Number 21, which of the following is a measurement of velocity? A, 16 kilometers per hour east. B, 25 meters per second west. C, 55 miles per hour south. Or D, all of the above. 22. Newton's law of force and acceleration can be expressed as the following equation. Force equals mass times acceleration, or F equals m times a. Suppose you are applying a force of 20 newtons to a shopping cart that has a mass of 40 kilograms. What is the acceleration of the shopping cart as it moves? Because 1 newton equals 1 kilogram of mass times mass per second squared, the answer has the unit meters per second squared. 23. What must you know in order to calculate the acceleration of a moving object? A, its mass and speed. B, total distance traveled and total time. C, starting velocity, final velocity, and time taken to change velocity. And D, its average speed and direction it traveled over the total distance. 24. George has raked leaves into a heavy pile on top of a tarp. He wants to pull the tarp up an incline as shown above. According to Newton's law of inertia, the tarp and the pile of leaves will remain at rest because of their inertia. In order to move the tarp and the leaves, George must apply an unbalanced force. What must the force that George applies overcome in order to move the tarp and the leaves up the incline? A, the forces of wind and gravity. B, the forces of friction and wind. C, the forces of gravity and friction. Or D, the forces of gravity, friction, and wind. 25. The illustration shows an experimental setup and the results observed. For an experiment conducted to measure the acceleration of the wheeled cart, what variable in the experiment designed to test? What variable is this experiment designed to test? Letter A, the amount of force being applied to accelerate an object. B, the direction in which an object moves when an unbalanced force is applied. C, the force of friction that operates on the wheels of the cart to slow it down. Or D, the effect of the mass of an object when a force is being applied to accelerate the object. Number 26, skip. 27, which of the following is not a factor that is responsible for changes in seasons? A, Earth's rotation. B, Earth's revolution. C, Earth's tilt on its axis. Or D, Earth's orbital path around the sun. 28. The gravity is responsible for keeping the moon in its orbit around Earth. Okay, start over at number 28. Gravity is responsible for keeping the moon in its orbit around Earth. As it orbits Earth, the moon passes through various phases that make up the lunar cycle. Study the illustrations of the moon phases above. What is happening when the moon is waxing? A, the sunlit part we see is decreasing. B, the sunlit part we see is increasing. C, the moon will next appear as a new moon. D, the moon will soon enter the last quarter of the lunar cycle. 29. What type of tide is produced when the Earth experiences a third quarter moon? A, neap tide. B, solar tide. C, lunar tide. Or D, none of the above. Number 30. Look at this Hertzsprung-Russell diagram. Which of the following is a star that is relatively cool, dim, and red? A, Betelgeuse. B, Sirius B. C, Procyon B. Or D, Barnard's star. 31. Which statement below best describes our sun and its placement in the Milky Way galaxy? A, the sun is a high-mass blue-white star near the center of the galactic core. B, the sun is a medium-mass yellow star near the center of the galactic core. C, the sun is a high-mass blue-white star, 2/3 of the distance from the center of the galactic core to the edge of the disk. Or D, the sun is a medium-mass yellow star, 2/3 of the distance from the center of the galactic core to the edge of the disk. Number 32. Different wavelengths of the electromagnetic spectrum, such as infrared waves, are used to gain information about distances and properties of components in the universe. What celestial objects are best explored with the use of an infrared telescope? A, the cosmic microwave background. B, matter swirling around and into black holes. C, warm collapsing clouds of dust and gas in early stages of star formation. Or D, gamma ray bursts, which are brilliant, brief flashes of tremendous energy. 33. Jasmine drew the illustration above as part of her homework assignment to show how light years are used to measure distances and sizes in the universe. According to Jasmine's illustration, what is the approximate value of a light year in kilometers? A, 9.5 trillion kilometers. B, 9.5 billion kilometers. C, 9.5 million kilometers. Or D, 9.5 thousand kilometers. 34. Scientists collect data to develop theories to best describe the origin of the universe. The most widely accepted theory is the Big Bang theory. The diagram represents a model that shows what scientists think happened following the Big Bang that resulted in the creation of the universe. According to this illustration, at what temperature did stable atoms begin forming? 35. What evidence have scientists obtained to support plate tectonic theory? A, depletion of the ozone layer. B, melting of glaciers in the polar regions. C, mountain ranges that form a watershed boundary. Or D, fossils of similar species on continents separated by oceans. 36. Plate tectonics play a role in the formation of crustal features. One such feature includes mountains made of cooled, solidified magma. What are these mountains called? A, ice caps. B, plateaus. C, glaciers. Or D, volcanoes. 37. The diagram shows a topographic map. Which statement best describes the walk from point A to B? A steep downhill segment followed by almost flat terrain after crossing the river. B, a gradual downhill segment followed by a gentle uphill slope after crossing the river. C, up and down over small hills followed by a slight climb uphill after crossing the river. D, uphill to the crest followed by a gradual downhill slope and flat terrain after crossing the river. 38. Satellites have become an important scientific tool. What can satellite views help scientists identify? A, deep ocean currents. B, movement of plate tectonics. C, land features reshaped by weathering. Or D, all of the above. 39. Thermal energy circulates through the atmosphere in oceans by the process of convection. What is the source of energy that drives convection? A, solar energy. B, nuclear energy. C, electromagnetic energy. Or D, gravitational potential energy. 40. Look closely at the weather map above that shows a cold front passing through Texas. Based on the map, how are the weather conditions different on each side of this cold front? A, temperatures are warmer in the northern part of the state. B, winds are blowing from different directions on either side of the cold front. C, winds are blowing with greater gusts in the southern part of the state where the cold front has yet to reach. Or D, temperatures in the southern part of the state will slowly increase as the front continues to move in a southeast direction. 41. Hurricanes form over warm ocean water. However, energy is needed for a hurricane to start forming. What provides the energy that causes a hurricane to start forming? A, tectonic activity. B, deep ocean currents. C, passing warm front. Or D, thermal energy from solar radiation. 42. Examine the food web that is shown above. Predict how a disease that killed the grasses in an area might affect animals such as coyotes and mountain lions which do not eat grass. A, there will be a decrease in the number of animals on which they feed. B, the number of other predators that compete with them will increase. C, there will not be any change because coyotes and mountain lions do not eat grass. D, the food supply will slowly increase because the small animals can no longer hide. 43. The brown-headed cowbird is a parasite that is found in Texas grasslands and farmlands. What does this animal need to survive? A, a host. B, a predator. C, a producer. And D, a composer. 44. Which of the following would be an example of a producer in a Texas terrestrial ecosystem? A, algae. B, eel grasses. C, bluebonnets. D, whitewater lilies. 45. The nine-banded armadillo and the cottonwood tree are two organisms found in a Texas prairie. For which abiotic factor are these two organisms most likely to compete? A, soil. B, water. C, sunlight. D, other organism. The graph 46. The graph above shows what happened to two species of fish. What is a valid conclusion to make from this graph? A, the two species of fish had a producer-consumer relationship. B, the two species of fish competed for the same limited food supply. C, the two species of fish inhabited different regions of freshwater lake. Or B, the two species of fish were unaffected by changes that occurred in their environment. 47. The population graph above shows the growth of a species of Paramecium, a single-celled organism, over 18 days. Food was added to the test tube occasionally. On what day did competition for food cause this population to reach its limit? 48. Which of the following is an example of short-term environmental change that can affect organisms' traits in subsequent populations? A, global warming. B, habitat destruction. C, depletion of the ozone layer. Or D, increased emissions of greenhouse gases. 49. Organisms and populations in an ecosystem depend on and may compete for abiotic factors such as living space within a particular temperature range. Examine the graph above. At what depth does the range of temperature show the greatest change? 50. Depending on how long it lasts, a drought can either be short-term or long-term environmental change. Which population of organisms can be found in a salt marsh would least likely be affected by a drought lasting 3 months? A, blue crabs. B, periwinkle snails. C, salt meadow codgrass. Or D, black-bellied plover birds. 51. Various human activities have modified ocean systems. One such activity is the creation of the artificial reef. These reefs have provided shelter for marine life, resulting in an increase of biodiversity found living near the reef. This biodiversity contributes to the stability of the marine ecosystem. However, artificial reefs do pose one potential problem. What problem might an artificial reef pose? A. Decreases the salinity of ocean water. B. Establishes parasite/host relationships in the marine ecosystem. C. Poses navigation issues for boaters who venture too near the reef. Or D. Introduces non-native species of fish and other aquatic life into the area. 52. How does fertilizer runoff from farming and lawn maintenance affect Earth's ocean systems? A. It does not affect the oceans. B. It causes an abundance of algal blooms. C. It causes marine life to become caught in fishing gear. Or D. It is directly responsible for near extinction of sea turtles. 53. Look closely at the marine food web shown in this diagram. Which organisms form the base of this food web? A. Phytoplankton. B. Lobsters and crab. C. Sardines and shrimp. Or D. Shark, tuna, and dolphin. 54. The beak size of birds is an example of a trait that changes in response to environmental changes. Look closely at the graph. What conclusions can you make based on this graph? A. Rainy conditions favor birds that have a large beak size. B. Drought conditions favor birds that have a small beak size. C. Birds with medium beaks are never found in these populations. Or D. Birds with small beaks and large beaks can be found living together under certain conditions.